It's more about the generalization. How often am I in this happy state versus this sad one? Today I'm going to talk about training your mind. And this is a concept that I enjoy quite a bit. It's one that I am not particularly good at. So, be aware that I am a little bit of a hypocrite in this area because while I know that it is a valuable thing, just like working out, I am not great at doing it. Just like working out. But when it comes to training your mind, I really like to liken it to the concept of training your body. If you put in the work, you do both endurance and strength training, you're going to achieve whatever your goals are. Just as if you do that in a gym, you're going to achieve your fitness goals. And when it comes to strength and endurance training, there are two formulas when it comes to training the mind. So endurance training is positive thoughts. And that kind of means just working consistently to try to improve the emotional side of your thought. To be happier, to come up with thoughts that make you feel good rather than feel bad. That's the endurance training. The strength training, though, is meditation. So let's get into those a little bit more. Positive thinking is a concept that is somewhat challenging to understand because it's talked about very often, but how you go about achieving a positive outlook is not exactly an easy step. It's not really an actionable idea. So when most people talk about creating a positive outlook, they come to the conclusion that they should do affirmations and I am statements to try to superimpose positive ideas on their brain. And while there is certainly some benefit to affirmations and I am statements, it's kind of like when you're angry, saying to yourself, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. And you don't believe it because you're angry. And more than likely, because you're trying to force yourself to be happy, you're actually making yourself angrier. So you're creating the opposite effect of what you want because you're in a negative state already and you're trying to superimpose a positive idea on it. So positive thoughts are not necessarily about affirmations. It's about moving to a more positive thought than where you are right now. And that involves navigating the emotional scale. So, for example, if you're angry, what you're trying to do, instead of jumping to a really positive thought, move up to a frustrated thought that is slightly better than the thought that you are currently thinking. So, if you were just in an argument with your significant other, and you're saying, I cannot believe he or she said that. How rude. How horrible. I can't believe they just belittled me like that. Well, now you can go, well, I don't think they were really trying to hurt me. They just didn't understand what I'm feeling right now. Which isn't a positive thought. It's just slightly less negative. But from there, you can move up to a more hopeful state, where it's like, well, this was one step towards us better understanding each other. And, if we keep doing this, if we keep communicating, eventually we're going to reach a better place. That's a hopeful thought. So now you're on the positive side of the scale. And it's a little bit hard to give examples of this because, in many ways, I need specific situations to try to help you through it. And additionally, a more positive thought for me is not going to be necessarily a more positive thought for you. One example is if you're doubting yourself and you say, I can't do this, just adding the word yet to the end of the statement helps relieve the angst there. I can't do this, or I can't do this yet. And then you can even go a step further. You can go, I can't do this yet, but I will get there. So, there are simple things that you can do to try to improve this. Positive thinking, though, is something that has to be worked on over time, where, you're not going to be able to run a 13-mile marathon day one. It's going to take time. You build up to it through continuous effort. And I'm much better with this endurance training, this positive thinking kind of thing, than I am with the strength training side, the meditation, because it takes very little concerted effort. It mostly requires you recognizing when you have a negative thought and then going, oh, okay, what thought would be better now? And part of the reason why I think it's easier for me to do this positive thinking one, though, is because I have done meditation. And I probably should do meditation more, but because I have done some meditation, I have released some of the resistance that I have and negative thoughts, and allowed my natural happier state to kind of raise within me and allow me to be happier more of the time, which means those positive thoughts are more likely to occur and there's less to combat. The way that Abraham Hicks describes a positive thought versus a negative thought is kind of like you have this piece of cargo and you're wanting to move it to one location. So a positive thought is like plunking down an engine on one side. But then when you do a negative thought, you're plunking down an engine on the other side. So now you have equal amounts of force pulling at the cargo in different directions. You're not going to get anywhere. So the more positive thoughts you have, the more engines you have pulling on the cargo, the faster you're going to reach your destination. If, on the other hand, you have a lot of negative thoughts pulling the cargo the other direction, the resistance is stronger. And that's one of the reasons why meditation is such a good thing, is because you're allowing the negative thoughts, the negative engines, to be kind of removed from the track. And the reason why the negative thoughts are removed from the track is because the positive ones are what you want. So you will continue to think those things because you want to. And it's natural for you to think those things. So while there might be some taken off of the positive end of the line as well, what you're mostly reducing are the negative side. And you're going to reinforce the positive ones as you go as well. You may reinforce the negative ones, but as you keep going, the less common it is for you to put a negative engine down on your cargo train. So that's why meditation is so helpful. And the reason why I say meditation is kind of the strength training aspect of this is because you can't live necessarily in a state of meditation. Meditation is like a focused effort, and you're only going to be able to do it for so long. But once again, just like with endurance, strength training is something that you have to build up to. So you're not going to be able to lift a 200-pound barbell on your first day at the gym. More than likely, you're going to start with something lighter. Same with meditation. Instead of going for a 2-hour meditation session, go with 5 or 10 minutes. Build up over time. And eventually you're going to get good at it, and you're going to start seeing the results that you want. The other nice thing about meditation is you get better at recognizing your own thoughts, because you've kind of worked to turn off your brain for a second, which means that those new thoughts are a lot more evident. You're going to see them better because you've lived in a space where there weren't any thoughts. So you can pick out individual thoughts a little bit easier because you recognize the space in between them. And it's kind of hard to describe that specifically. You kind of have to experience it to know what I'm talking about, and even then you'll probably say it differently. But it's definitely a good idea to work with meditation and to work over time to improve your thinking to a more positive line. And, even if you don't believe that it is helpful to do either of these things, I do think that you would enjoy a more positive world than you enjoy your negative one. I know that I much prefer a happy state to a sad one. And while there are definitely going to be times where I'm still sad or upset or angry, it's more about the generalization. How often am I in this happy state versus this sad one? And I can definitely say that through my own efforts in this area, that I live much more often in a happy state. And often when I'm in more of a negative state, there's not necessarily a reason for it. It's just like my body needs to feel that emotion. So I feel it for an hour or so, and then I move past it, and I'm back to a more positive state. I definitely still have my struggles. This is something that is a lifelong pursuit. I mean, you're always going to be working on it, and I know that's intimidating. In many ways, this concept of, well, I'm never going to achieve my goal, so what's the point? And it's like, well, I can get closer though, and right now that's enough. Being a person who is very goal-oriented, though, knowing that I can never achieve that goal is a little disheartening, which is probably why I'm not great at meditation. I'm definitely better at the whole positive thinking side of it, because it requires less concerted effort. At least at this point. I guess I've gotten decent enough at it that it doesn't require all that much effort. Meditation, though, pretty much always does, because you have to set aside a specific amount of time, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do, because I have so many other things that I want to do, or I'm excited about, which is kind of a good thing. I mean, if you really want to do something else, it's probably not a good idea to meditate at that moment, because you're excited, you want to keep going in the direction that you're going, you want to keep being in that positive state. And meditation is all about quieting the mind, turning off the thoughts for a minute. But yeah, work on training your thoughts, and I definitely think it will help you move forward in your life and, achieve a more positive situation for yourself. When it comes to meditation practices, I like to keep it really simple, touch your finger to your nose or something and focus on the touch, and then that's all you do, close your eyes and focus on the touch. It's a great way to start with meditation. But that is everything that I have for you today, so I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you found some useful information in here. And if you would be so kind as to consider supporting me on Patreon, I'd be so excited to know that my work was that valuable to you, that you decided to become a contributor of mine. So I'd be very happy to see you over on Patreon. I also would like you to like this video and subscribe, and then click on that notification bell so that you are reminded when new videos are posted. I'm trying to do one a week right now, posting on Fridays at noon, so definitely keep an eye out for those. And leave a comment below if you believe this meditation practice is helpful. Tell me what has worked for you if you've ever tried meditation before. Tell me what emotional state you believe you're in most of the time, and what your goals are as far as achieving a more positive outlook. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you again soon, and bye.